Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the current landscape right now.
Sure.
So you've got your job cut out for you, it seems, at this juncture.
That's great.
Tell me a little bit about it. Tell me about what you're seeing right now.
Well, I think the things you're most excited about are the real interest across the globe on CSeries, which is fantastic. Whether it's the Middle East, Europe, North America, Asia, China, I mean, the interest in CSeries has been tremendous.
What do you say to the recent report, and I'm trying to think who it came out with, I think it was a Canadian analyst that said that there isn't as much interest in the C-Series as Bombardier claims. I don't know if you saw
about
this.
That RBS
yes,
report?
I am, indeed. RBS. How do you respond to that? What do you think of their analysis?
I think if I talked to the same 26 people, most of whom were in the U.S., he probably would have got the exact same answer.
Right.
It wasn't. He wasn't talking to exclusively to, or even predominantly to, network planners.
Right.
It was extremely U.S.-centric view. Most of the world could care less what the U.S. is flying.
Yeah.
I mean, let's face it.
Yeah.
The U.S. is an incredibly large market. It's an important market. It's an important future market for C-Series. But I just don't think that the likes of Singapore and Korea and China and Qatar and Abu Dhabi and Bahrain, I don't gather that they spend every day, every waking hour, trying to figure out what a U.S. airline's doing.
Right.
So,
good point.
And that's really where where our early, because of the extremely difficult economic environment in the U.S. and the much better environment outside of the U.S. currently. That's why our early successes have predominantly been outside of the U.S.
There was also a recent report saying that Delta, after making its Boeing 737-900 order, that it was not looking anymore at Embraer or Bombardier. What do you think of that?
No, I think so. The Delta CEO said that. I think I think given where the U.S. environment is, given that you have a president and a Congress that can't get together, that really can't even see a way to get together. Given the continuous pressure on jobs in the U.S., GDP, which has the ability to go flat to possibly negative, and really no end in sight, plus a 2012 set of elections where all of the candidates are going to talk about how terrible the economy is, and just really enthuse all of the consumers. It really becomes difficult in that environment to make aggressive decisions. I think they made a good, prudent, justified decision in that they said, look, my most immediate need is to replace 75s.
Yeah.
You look at what the 737-900 can do. It can do almost all the 75 markets. Good, safe, near-term decision, prudent, and Delta's in it for the long haul.
Sure.
And so we had a tremendous engagement with Delta. We really liked Delta. We have tremendous respect for them. They are the largest flyer of Bombardier products right now. They don't own or operate all of them, but as far as airplanes with the Delta livery, it is clearly, or the Delta livery, Bombardier is by far one of their biggest supporters.
So you see room then down the road potentially in the Delta fleet for the C-Series? Yeah?
Oh sure.
Okay.
Oh sure.
Interesting. Now, on the regional aircraft side, things have been rather tough. And recently announcing, of course, a slowdown in production on the CRJs and...
Oh, really? I hadn't noticed.
The Q.
Really?
And tell me a little bit about that. I know you guys have said that really a couple key campaigns could turn things around.
Oh, sure.
Where do things stand?
Historically, it was predominantly sold in the U.S. and Western Europe.
Right.
And those markets and those GDPs are extremely low single digits, 1.5%, 2.5%.
Yeah.
All of the combined debt crises in Europe, all of the budget crises in the U.S., unemployment's going up in both those regions, and so a moderated capacity for what has been several years on the regional size fleets. Now, a large number of the CRJs, legacy 100, 200s, and the Embraer 135, 145s are starting to come out of the fleets. And so every one of those airplanes has to be replaced. So next year's going to be tough. and we're working through it. We've got a lot of campaigns. We're working very hard on them, and most all of my campaigns are outside of North America.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact of the matter is, the airplane's going to go on for a long time.
When do you think things might turn around then? Do you think we'll see something by the end of next year?
You know, toward the end of last year, we were hopeful, and we were seeing initial signs.
Yeah.
You know, engagement, RFPs, mm-hmm. You know, real negotiations that would have told us, if you asked me that question in January of this year, I would have said, you know, May, June timeframe.
Right.
For 2013 deliveries. You know, now it looks like probably later. Yeah. You know, now the Q400, different story. Great economics, completely global platform, always has been, was from the beginning, is today. If you look at the legacy of turboprops, you can't get a 200, a Q200, or a Q300. They're just not on the market. They're not available. Mm-hmm. There's very few used Q400s. We have an enormous number of Q400 campaigns. So very different story there.
Right. So you think the turnaround will happen with the turboprops before the regional?
Oh, absolutely. Really? I think well, I think it's already happened.
Yeah.
I mean, in my view, from the chair I sit in, it's already happened.
Okay.
Our current number of active campaigns, so this is with an RFP that we're pursuing, okay. or with you know, active proposals, or closing definitive agreements, is fourfold what it was in January.
Okay.
And I'm sure that HR is having the same experience.
So they have they've had a bit more success lately, mm-hmm. Than yourselves. So what do you think the reason for that is?
I think two big reasons. One, you get to a point in an aircraft program where you get sufficient customer breadth, where you hit the tipping point. Mm-hmm. So that number is somewhere between, say, 35 and 45. Right. And it's all related to the liquidity index of the asset. Yeah. And so if you have good geographic breadth, and you have good a customer type breadth, right? So low cost, efficiency, you know, mining and oil, special mission, you know, the good mix of customer types. And you've hit that, say, 35 to 40 customers, then you get the operating lessors, and every operating lessor brings their own sales team, and so you get sort of the multifold effect. Sure. Right, and that's what you know, we're very close to. We're in excess of 30 operators and 400 airplanes today. You know, we've added 3 new operators this year, right? So SpiceJet and Smart Aviation in Egypt, mm-hmm. and Air Canada Express. And so we're right at the tipping point as okay. well, and you'll see the exact same thing. Plus, we're working to open up new markets, right? So we're working on continuing to open up new markets, and so I have very few concerns okay. about the Q.
So
so having said that, let me just finish it. I don't think there's a world ever where the combined entities that make a turboprop, say a medium-sized turboprop, above 50 seats and less than 130 seats. I don't think there's a world where that's a 200 airplane a year market. I think there's a world where it's always going to be something between, let's say, 120 and maybe 150 or 60 airplanes a year. Okay. So it's not a market for 5 players, but it's a real good market for 2 predominant Western players. And I think it will be forever.
You have here, including your former employer, bringing, or at least this joint, at least proposing and looking quite seriously at next generation turboprop engine technology.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Do either of those solutions, the Pratt & Whitney Canada or the GE mm-hmm. solution at this juncture, have they prompted Bombardier to step up its studies of potentially a clean sheet design turboprop down the road?
Yeah, that's a tough one. So let's go back to what we just talked about. How big is the market, and how many aircraft are there a year? Mm-hmm. Clearly, when we went to the Q400, we left some of our Q300 customers behind, mm-hmm. because whatever they were doing with the Q300, it wasn't enough for a Q400. Mm-hmm. So we really struggle with that understanding. And, you know, I think more than any other reason, the reason we haven't definitized a Q400X is because there is a there are some very critical decisions that have to be made in it.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say that I'm anywhere near correct and that really the market is 120-ish airplanes a year,
sure.
140, 150 maybe. Well, you know, a clean sheet aircraft, I don't care what it is, it's a $3 billion program.
Right.
So you have to be pretty confident that that market's going to be there a long time in
right.
quantity.
Right.
You know, you go into the narrow body market clearly and quickly on that assumption. You go into the business jet market with a lot less because, you know, different margin profile.
Sure.
But, you know, in a very competitive space with what I would consider you know, a challenging environment to get margins, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's very difficult to justify a clean sheet airplane. Having said that, we still continue to look because we still get an awful lot of solicitations for it.
Yeah. What about re-engining? I spoke with Pratt & Whitney Canada just the other day. They said, obviously that's not their main focus, but they do see potential re-engining opportunities.
Sure.
Would that be something you'd consider, re-engining the
Yeah,
Q?
I think if you made it, I think if you stretched it maybe,
yeah.
right, then you may need a larger engine, and that gives you an opportunity then to put some advanced technologies into the engine. I think the question you have to have is, you have to answer it, and I'm not sure we've answered this. If you make a bigger Q400, let's say two worlds.
Mm-hmm.
One's an all-new clean sheet. One's
right.
kind of a stretch.
Right.
So on the theory that you're headed down on the stretch.
Yeah.
Okay, how much of a stretch?
Up to 100 seats probably, right?
Hard to get there, really.
Right.
I mean, it's a pretty long airplane now.
So a plug would take it to about 90?
Not sure.
Yeah.
See, that's what we don't know, right?
Okay.
Because, you know, is it 2 rows? Is it 3 rows?
Okay.
So you make that decision. Then that kind of drives how much engine you need.
Right.
Because you want to guard all the performance, right? You don't want to lose any performance. And then you need to make some changes around the airplane that would
sure.
enhance reliability and give it a longer life, right? You know, as it turns out, all of those are there's going to be a set of customers that say, that's what I want you to do. I want you to definitely do that. Don't do anything else. Don't even consider anything else.
Right.
And then there's another group that say, you idiots, why would you ever do that?
Okay.
Right? So it's not as clear and clean an example of what to do as C-Series. I think both of us, you know, I won't speak for our competitors, but I think us and the two engine guys, the two predominant engine guys in the space, continuously struggle with trying to figure out what way to go. They're not small decisions, right?
I know, right.
Yeah, I mean, we have legitimate shareholders. They expect a return. Certainly, the engine guys have legitimate shareholders, and they expect return. So, you know, it's a tough decision.
So the turnaround is around the corner, at least on the turboprop side.
Where's the corner?
It's coming.
So what do you think? Okay, so here this will be a dollar bet.
Dollar bet.
You and me.
Oh my.
We're going to get it on film. It's going to be witnessed right here.
Oh my God.
So I'm going to commit a loony, which is like $1.04.
Okay.
And you can commit $1. Okay, first regional jet order in the U.S. in excess of 30 airplanes.
The first regional jet order to come down the pike.
In North America.
In North America.
In excess of 30 airplanes.
And we're talking
month and year.
And we're talking how many seats?
And they have to go.
Are they going to be 700s, 900s?
Well, they don't care. They can be 170s, 175s, 190s, CRJ 900s, CRJ 700s, 705s, 950s, whatever.
So you want a date in the year.
And it has to go into a regional system. It can't go into it can't be like an incremental JetBlue order or something like that. Right? So it has to go into a classic region, month and year.
Okay. All right. I'll throw out January 2012. How about you?
I'm going to say April.
April 2012?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Okay, April 2012.
So it's on tape.
It's on tape.
And I'm gonna pay up.
Sounds
or
good.
You're
I'll
gonna
pay.
up.
I will.
I'm gonna come and find you for that $1.
I've got a feeling I'll be the one paying up.